Well, we're not supposed to be here. We're very late. We didn't do what was expected of us. We didn't set out to drag our families to Providence in December. I'm sorry about the weather. But this is where apologies end and embracing this situation begins. If there's a giant conveyor belt that puts the American 5-year-old in a position to learn that the square peg goes in the square hole and when to fill in the bubble for all of the above, this room is full of the lucky ones who leapt off that belt, stepped aside for a little, zigzagged around, thinking to ourselves, we'll just stay here while the economy gets fixed. Sorry, Mom. Personally, perhaps, I should have seen this coming. It was in a middle school French class that I learned a phrase that would haunt me into my development as a congenital apologizer. Je suis désolé d'être en retard. I am sorry for being in a slow manner. For magical reasons, this line would get me off the hook every time. Now, though the institutional acceptability of the line fizzled out pretty quickly, the opportunities to deliver it have persisted. Here, months late, we know that simultaneous terror and elation that comes with prematurely trudging out of Brown's gates. Many of us left academia's semestarian life cycle and let the days go by according to no syllabus. It was different for each of us, as ungeneralizable and uncategorizable as we are. One of us chronicled the lives of women in a fundamentalist polygamous commune in Utah. One of us set down the New England coastline to facilitate meaningful conversations between local fishermen and the corporations who threaten their livelihoods. And one of us established residence in a swing state and field organized over 1,000 people who would be instrumental in electing Barack Obama president. Thank you, Billy Packer. Whatever the adventure, the pursuit, the challenge, there was an inevitable shared experience. Soon after the paperwork was filled out, the parents consoled, the signature signed, came the explanations, that personal asterisk hovering over each of our heads in so many conversations. We're taking time off. We're between years. Je suis désolé d'être en retard, madame. In that liminal space between where I was supposed to be and where I was in the fall of 2007, I found myself emboldened by my leap, and in business casual attire in the green room of the Colbert Report, saying, yes, I can be in New York in September, and yes, I believe the American politics concentration Brown is perfect prerequisite for working for you here. And yes, I'm also very good at getting coffee. I was hired. On my first day, I was handed a confidentiality agreement from the show's parent company, Viacom. I swore on it that I would not disclose sensitive information for any purposes or profit or commencement speech. I was never given any sensitive information, so I can say under the good graces of the law that I played video games and ate marshmallow cereal with comedians for 4 months straight. Now, all of us have had the experience, that crystallizing moment when we have questioned the tools afforded to us by our undergraduate education. Nothing in Brown's poli-sci curriculum remotely prepared me for having to use computer manipulation technology to morph Stephen Colbert's face with presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's. I was equipped with no academic tools, not even that multi-applicable critical thinking one. There I was, functioning, thriving even, in an environment so antithetical to traditional academia, where an undergraduate degree in political science was only as useful as the joke someone could make about the concept of the majority whip. I grew certain that school was a bit excessive, a distraction, a maze of tires to hop through on the way to what's really out there. I emerged from this office culture of disaffected institutional mistrust, where blithe, flip comedy was as effective as a policy review at publicizing governmental hypocrisy, and I returned to Brown in the least Brunonian spirit. I was jaded, questioning the value of this education. Yet, here I am, here we all are, 2 years later, and I stand here recognizing that this reactionary cynicism toward an undergraduate degree is in fact an integral part of Brown's particular undergraduate education. It was this institution, it was the distinctly unconventional conventions of Brown itself that gave us all the gentle push off the conveyor belt when we were ready and never held our hands. In many ways, perhaps contradictorily, we experienced a fundamental facet of Brown during our time outside of our education. The hyper-aware questioning of our purpose, our dissatisfaction when we knew that we weren't using our incredible repositories of knowledge for the good, and a tendency to use metaphors like, we're all on a giant conveyor belt. These are products of Brown. Something connects us to each other and to this place, and it runs through our wildly disparate experiences of gaining trust in an outside community, of devoting our waking hours to a higher calling, or running errands for a late-night TV show host, is the loaded, all-encompassing term, .5er. This term, this euphemism, has little to do with our expected date of graduation. A .5er had the same name in December 2009 as it did in December of 1979. It's a label that stands alone, without a reference year, signifying a certain kind of lateness. A lateness that permitted us to disengage from who we were scheduled to be in order to take ownership of ourselves. In that way, perhaps, we are very early. We are not désolé. We, the stragglers, are here deliberately, unapologetically, the better for it. We are today's .5ers. We are the class of 2009 .5, and congratulations to us all.